afternoon. Today is Tuesday, October 17th. I keep wanting to say August. I don't know why. Because I'd like it to be August, not October. Because look, I got a sweatshirt on because it's cool in here. Finally did break down and turned the furnace on. It's like 43 degrees outside. It's cold. But anyway, we have birthdays today. Today is Autumn Maddie, M-A-D-D-Y. Autumn, today's your birthday. But you knew that. I didn't have to tell you that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Autumn. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. It's also Ellen Noonan, N-O-O-N-A-N. Ellen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ellen. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. And it's also Linda Wallace's birthday. So, Linda, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Linda. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Well, I hope all three of you have a great, great birthday today. I haven't been doing much the last couple days. I really haven't been feeling like doing a video. I don't know why. It's just, I am on track. I know I'm not showing my food, but I am on track. This is the third day in a row. I've been very, very diligent on my plan. I am going to have a small gain this week. I'm fine with that. I'm not really fine with it. You know what I mean when I say I'm fine with that. I know I could have done better, but I had lots on my mind. I had a lot on my mind. We went downstairs and checked, and the floor is still a little bit wet, so we called our basement people, and they're supposed to come tomorrow. We checked yesterday. We haven't checked today, but it was just like, it was dry, but not fully dry, if that makes any sense. It's better that we waited a couple more days, have the fans going for a couple more days. So that's our plan, to do that. So, and then what else was I going to tell you? Jim has an appointment. They finally called back for the doctors. He's got an appointment on Thursday at 11 o'clock, which is the same time as my Weight Watchers meeting. I'm kind of toying in my mind of just going to the night meeting on Thursday, although that'll really show a gain because it's like I will always weigh in the morning before I've eaten. But Jim is not very reliable. He hears what he wants to hear when you go to the doctors. He has an app on his phone that he could record the conversation. He won't. So when they called back for the rehab, they said that they're not booking up until the second or third week of November. And I'm thinking this is a little bit more important than waiting until the second, third week of November. Jim was just like, oh, if that's all they have, that's all they have. Whereas I think the doctor can get him in a little quicker. So I'm kind of tossing that around in my mind. But I haven't made a decision yet. I'll make a decision tomorrow night. But if I thought Jim was reliable enough to ask the questions that I would write down on a piece of paper, and he would come home and say, oh, I forgot. Or she said, oh, don't worry about it. Or she's not that concerned, or something like that. So I'm still kind of weighing what I'm going to do. I haven't made my full decision yet. I was awakened this morning early with the sound of a pounding on the roof, not my roof, Denise's, who lives 3 doors down, because she's getting a new roof. So they completely stripped the roof, and then they were banging all day long. And then they had their music playing, even with the window. Well, I had my window open when I was sleeping, but even when I got up and closed the window, you could still kind of hear the music. So, but she's getting a roof. That's all that really matters. Denise did sell her house. She's closing next week, I think. But one of the things was that there was some missing shingles. But when we had that big storm the other day, which everything flooded, a lot of people lost shingles too because of there was like a high wind and stuff too. So her insurance is covering it, so it's not costing her. I think it's her. She has to pay the deductible. But other than that, yeah, they're paying for everything, so she's getting that taken care of. It's going to be strange not having Denise like 3 doors down. I mean, she's not moving until the middle of December. And she's not moving that far. She's actually moving closer to Bertie. She's going to be like within 3 minutes of Bertie's house. Well, I think that if in the car, I'll never walk it. It's too far. It's probably walking because there's no straight way with all the way subdivisions are in my area. It probably would be like a good 5-mile walk. Those days are gone, my friends. I don't walk 5 miles. So, but to drive it probably would take maybe 8 minutes, 9 minutes tops. So she's still close, and we're still going to do a lot of things together. We're still in the book club. I told you we had to get the book. The book for the month, for next month, is this book, Woman's Daughter. And this was the prequel. So this is the one I got to read first. So I got to read this one before I go into that one. So I just find it funny that we were going to quit. And then, no, we even got the prequel to the book that we know. That's just us. That's just what we do. But this book does sound a little bit more interesting. I have to say that The Personal Librarian was good. I had my doubts, and I was kind of like a negative Nelly at the beginning. But as it turned out, I really did like the book. So if you need to read, I like history books, but I'd rather read a history thing than a fictional history, because they kind of take some liberties with the historical facts, and then they got to make up conversations to make the story a little bit more interesting. Denise is a big audiobook subscriber or whatever. She loves audiobooks. I like to hold the book and read the book. I like to have it in my hands. So when we were going to I'll talk about that too, but when we were going to our genealogy class last night at the library, she says, no, you got to hear this. She says, it's so, because they have the different voices for the different characters, and they have the accents and all that. Boring. I did not like it. But I listened to it. I had an open mind, but it all comes back to I like to hold the book in my hand. So whenever I order a book, unless I make a mistake like I did over the summer, I always order a hardcover book. So I got a notification that the prequel book was in for me to pick up, and it was in my slot. They have slots for your alphabetical where you put your books when you've ordered them. So I went to look for my book, and Denise had her books too, her audiobooks, and they had her audiobooks under her last name, but they didn't have anything under my name, and so I thought, well, maybe it was, misfiled. So I looked under the S's for Sandy, and it wasn't there. And then I looked under the M's for Manning, although I don't think I have Manning anywhere in the account, but I thought I'll look there. Then I went on every letter and still didn't see it. So I went over to the librarian, or the library assistant, whoever is working there behind the register or the counter. And I said, I have a notification that my book is in and it's not on the shelf. And she said, well, are you sure you got a notification? Okay. She was very young. And I know I look very old. So I took out my phone and I showed her on the phone, and I showed her that the date, it had come yesterday, not today. It had shown me yesterday that my book was in. I thought I'd wait till today because I knew I was going to the library anyhow. And so she says, well, if you got the notification, then it's on the shelf. And I go, it's not on the shelf. Come with me. I'll get the book for you. Okay, we're standing there, and I go, I don't see my book. I know I get kind of snotty. I know, but it's just like I've reached an age. My mother used to get so mad when we would go out to eat, and my Aunt Merle, who was elderly, she was probably in her 80s when she lived with us, and when they would go out to eat, my mother would order what she wanted, and then she'd say, and what would she like? And then my mother would get so indignant, and she'd say, she's sitting right there. Ask her. She can order. She can talk. She can move. So this was always So sometimes I think that old people are invisible, or if they're visible, they don't know anything, type of thing. And I'm not saying that I'm treated that way all the time, but this is the second time in less than a month. Because at the hotel, when they said that they were acting like I was ignorant and didn't know how to work a key on to get into the room, and then this girl saying that let me show you where the book is, and so then I stood there and I said, well, I don't see the book. Do you see the book? You're going to show me where the book is? Show me where the book is. And then she just kind of looks at me and she says, well, it's been misfiled. And I go, well, then show me, because I've looked everywhere and it's not here. And she says, well, it's here. I'll find it. And then she looked, and no, guess what? It wasn't there. And so then I do make a snide remark. I said, I guess it doesn't matter if your eyes are young or your eyes are old. If my book is not there, I'm not going to see it either way anyhow. And she says, well, it's got to be here somewhere. I'll find it. And so then I told her, I said, well, I'm going to a class over here, and they have the room, I forget what room number it was, 3 or 4 or whatever. And I said, I'm going to go over to the old person, I don't even remember. It had a name, but I knew where it was. So I guess I don't pay that much attention to it. So I said, well, I'm going for the genealogy class. I'll check with you afterwards to see. And so she said, okay, fine. So then I went to the class. After the class, I went back to her and I said, did you find my book? And she says, well, I'm with a customer right now. But yes, I did find your book. And I said, okay. So then when she gave it to me, I said, was it on the shelf? And she said, no, it was still in the box in the back. And I said, oh, so I would have never found it anyhow. And she said, no, you wouldn't have. And so I said, oh, okay. She never apologized. That annoyed me. So I said, as I was leaving, well, it would have been nice if you would have apologized for insinuating that I was too stupid to not know my own last name. And then I walked out. I shouldn't have done it, I know, but I was in a mood. I just was in a mood because this genealogy class was nothing like they purported it to be, how they said it was going to be. Because it was boring. And I thought it was from 6 to 7. And at 10 after 6, I looked at my watch and I looked at Denise and I went, I'll never make it. It was that boring. Even the first 10 minutes in was that boring. And so she just kind of chuckled in that. And the longer we went in there, the more annoyed I was getting. And it was mostly older people my age. And so then I'm thinking back to the librarian getting so upset with the old people. I was getting upset with these old people. I don't know, why are you taking a class that you know for a fact is going to require some computer knowledge? You don't have to be like a whiz on the computer, but you have to know something. And at least 2 people asked, well, how do you get on that website? And she had printed out papers and she had given it to us that gave us all the website names and stuff like you could get on. And so she had to take time out to show them on, because she had a screen, to show them exactly how to go onto Safari or go onto Google. She showed them both. And then you do this and you do that, blah, 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 blah. And it was just, and then the whole class, which she said at the very beginning, before we even started, she said, like I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. I'm 71 right now. So I've been doing it for 61 years, tracking my family. I'm the knowledgeable person in my family. I do it for my whole family. Let me show you my family tree. And then she puts her family tree up there, which is like, obviously if she's been doing it for 60 years, it's very extensive. Very impressive. I'll give her that. It was very impressive. And she said, and I am proud to tell you that I am a member of the prestigious Nye family, NYE. That meant nothing to me. The only Nye person I know is Bill Nye the Science Guy. And nobody even asked her if she was related to him. But I guess this original Nye came over on the Mayflower, which is something I guess you could be proud of or be happy about or whatever. I know for a fact that none of my relatives came over on the Mayflower. But it's just... And then she proceeds to tell us, and she'll show us pictures of like her great-great-great-grandfather's house. And then she started telling us a story about her... great aunt had some kids that died, and then she went for the cemetery search. And I'm thinking, I didn't come to hear about your family history. I came to learn how to do my family history. And I guess I really thought that we were going to sit there with like our laptops or go to a computer, because there's all kinds of computers in the library, and work through if we had a problem. Like, okay, you look on this site and then look for this, and then if you can't find it, let me know or something. But no, it was so boring. And then nobody shut their phones off. I did. Nobody shut their phones off. So everybody's phone was going off. I can't talk right now. I'm in a meeting at the library. Yeah, I'll call you back. Yeah. Okay. If you want to take the call, get up, walk outside, and take the call. I don't need to hear your conversation. I don't even need to hear your ringtone. Although it was kind of nice to hear all the different ringtones, because between 6 and 7, I think at least 6 phones went off. And I'm thinking, mine was on vibrate. So, I mean, when it went off, but nobody heard it because it just vibrated in my pocket. So, it was not what I thought. And so then, all of a sudden the internet went down. And I thought, a reprieve. It was like 10 to 7. And I thought, well, it's only 10 minutes early, but whatever. And she says, well, I don't think we'll be able to continue on until 8 o'clock, which was our allotted time for this room. And I'm thinking, oh my, I cannot sit through another. So I looked at Denise and I said, pack up your stuff. She says, what? Because Denise drove. I said, we have to go pick up Alyssa from work. And she says, I didn't know she was working. I said, she's not. So she says, oh, okay. But then they couldn't get back on the internet. So she says, well, unfortunately, we have to close this meeting now. But, we can have another one next month. And if you want to attend, you won't be seeing me there. It was boring. Although they did give us a lot of information and a little printout. I will give her that. Let me see if I can find it. I know I kept it, I thought I kept it. Did I not keep it? I must not have kept it. Oh yeah, here it is. This is a recipe from Roy that I'm going to make one day this week. So I got that in there so I can remember it. But this is the printout of the stuff that she gave me. That, you know, like you can go on to familysearch.org, which is free. And then you can create an account, sign in, and then build a family tree. Or you can go to Michigan, I don't know. I'll take a picture of this page. So if anybody's interested, at least something will be coming up this meeting. You can check church records, which I already knew that you could. But there's a bunch of sites that you can try. So I'll leave it at the end of my video if anybody's interested in looking to see if there's something. But I don't know. Even when she gave her email address, she says, you can leave me an email, but I'll be honest with you, I never check my email. Well, why am I getting, but I wrote it, as I'm writing it down, I wrote it all down. First of all, she said L9@chelibrary.org. And then everybody said 9, is it the number 9? She says, no, Nye, like the Nye, N-Y-E, like my last name. But I was writing it down, so that's why there's a little correction there. But I'll take a picture of this and the things that the different sites, if anybody is interested, they can go and look at it. And so it's not a complete waste, but she was saying how Ancestry.com can really run into the money. She said because they always entice you with, like, you can go a little bit further for $10 and you can go a little bit further for $20 and stuff like that. So she said it can get quite expensive. I was just kind of interested. Denise was going to do my father's family and I was going to do my mother's family, but I don't know that we're even going to do it now because I was just, it was. But anyway, so I'm going to plan on spending the week ahead just enjoying my life, my family, my friends, and staying back on track with my plan. And that's about it. So today I'm going to watch my YouTube videos, try to catch up a little bit. I'm falling behind again. And then tomorrow, I know I got to go to the Kroger's. Somebody on Facebook put that the Kroger's that I go to, that there was a manager doing stock and there was a big rat on the shelf and he didn't do anything about it. He just kind of pushed the boxes aside to push the rat to the side. Okay, first of all, I bet you it was a mouse. I'm not saying that they don't have rats. I'm not saying that they, any place you go is going to have rats. When I worked at Montgomery Ward's, there were rats because we were near the food court. But I really do think it was probably a mouse. But I don't really think it was a true person because they were saying they were from another city, which is about 35 miles away from here. Okay, maybe you were visiting friends or something and you went to that, but what is the likelihood of that? And if that was the case, then why wouldn't you have reported it to the health department? Why put it on Facebook? And then the last thing is, has anybody ever seen a manager of a grocery store putting up stock? I know I haven't. And I know from just the shelves, they're always half empty anyhow. So I really do think she saw a mouse and put it up to being a rat. But like I said, if it is, it is. I don't know. Just as long as they're not eating my food when I'm putting it in my buggy, I guess that's all I care about. I wouldn't want to see a rat. I wouldn't even want to see a mouse. Denise had a mouse in her house yesterday. A mouse in her house. But they caught it. And they have a bucket and they catch it. And then they let it out free outside. I says, it's the same mouse that keeps coming back. But I'm like with her. I don't like to kill animals. It's just, I'll kill a fly though. Because they're annoying. They're just downright annoying. Okay, now I'm going off topic. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, share if you think somebody might like to see it. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Well, I actually thought a video might be a little bit better than just a picture, because sometimes the pictures are kind of hard to read. So these are some of the sites that they tell you that you can go to. And I hope I'm not going too fast. Just kind of tells you things that she didn't tell us. Although I did know that something that you have to be dead at least 75 years before they'll show certain aspects of the life. And then there was some more on this page. So, I mean, if any of this interests you, you can always just stop the video and screenshot it and see if it'll help you. It's something that I really have been interested in for a long time, and I do have the time to do it. but I get distracted very, very easily. And so therefore, I don't see this actually happening. But maybe if it would have been out a little bit more interesting yesterday, I might have done it.